Namaste. Welcome to your practice. This class is designed to settle and soothe your nervous system. So this is for those days where your nerves just feel a little bit jangled, or maybe you feel a little bit like you've got some frenetic energy, you have a lot of anxiety, or it just feels like it's really tough to settle down. So we're not going to start with like deep breathing or anything like that. We're going to actually use some movement to work through that response. And then toward the end of our practice, we'll settle into some quieter postures and see how we're feeling at that point. For your class today, you're going to need 2 blocks and a ball of any kind, small ball like a tennis ball. If you don't have 2 blocks, you can use 2 water bottles that are approximately the same shape and size and weight. And if you don't have a ball, you can use one of the water bottles for that too. So to get started, we're going to be in a seated position with your legs in front of you. And we'll lean back onto the hands. If it doesn't feel good to lean onto the hands, then you can prop yourself up on elbows, or you can also lean against a wall. And just for a moment, see if you can take in the feeling of your whole body and just notice what it feels like. Now, if it's difficult or stressful to kind of drop in with that awareness, then go easy here. Just see if you can feel your hands on the floor, your feet on the floor. If it's okay to notice your breathing, look at your breath and see how that's feeling right now. If not, then just stick with the outside sensations of where you're in contact with the floor and maybe the air around you. Notice where in your body you're experiencing any tension. Don't write a story about it, just notice it. It's normal to have tension. It's okay to have tension. And then we're going to get right into a little movement. So we'll take the ball, or if it's a water bottle, it's going to be under your right foot first. And then we're just rolling a little bit back and forth. Now again, if holding yourself up on your hands, as I'm showing here, is uncomfortable for you, no problem. You can prop yourself up on elbows instead. You could even lie down and do this, or you can lean against a wall, whatever's going to make the most sense for you. Now as you're rolling this ball under your foot, just see what you can notice. Feel how your ball is or your water bottle is making impressions on your foot. So we're getting sensation coming from the outside in. And then feel how with your foot, you can take in the texture, the temperature of the quality of whatever it is you're rolling on. So I can kind of feel the fuzziness and the roundness of my ball under my foot. Depending on your position, you may be able to get in there a little bit more under the toes. But I really want to encourage you to give yourself some sort of loving attention with this here. Don't let this be like you're trying to mash your ball into the foot. We're not trying to blast your fascia or break up any kind of thing. We're just trying to bring a little gentle, kind touch to the bottom of your right foot. And then we'll pause, put the right foot down. Close your eyes if you like for a moment and see if you can notice or be aware of any difference between the right foot and the left foot. Any difference in how you're feeling in your body. If the breath has changed, if your overall tone of the body has changed. And then we're going to the other foot, rocking gently foot over ball or over water bottle. I'm rolling around here with a gentle touch. One of my teachers, one of my mentors calls it romancing the fascia. So we're taking our foot on a date. We're being really kind, really nice. We're getting to know it. We're not trying to mash the foot, just trying to roll around and feel ball underfoot and foot on top of ball. Now it's up to you. If you want to close your eyes, you can do that. Or you may find it feels better to keep them open and stay a little bit grounded here. Do another moment or two, maybe a little playful with the ball, maybe under the toes. Good, and then step your foot off of the ball and pause and feel for a moment your 2 feet. Notice if they feel a little bit more aware. Notice if your experience in your body has changed. Maybe it has and maybe it hasn't. It's okay either way. We're just seeing what's working for you today. Next, we're going to set the ball aside and turn over to a tabletop position. You know already that you can add anything you like under your knees, maybe a blanket as needed. And if it's too much to be on the hands, you can always go to fists, or you can put blocks under your elbows or just come down onto the elbows. Now we're going to start to bring a little bit of gentle movement into the body through circling. So I'm moving my hips to the right, to the back of the mat, to the left, and forward. You might imagine that you're just drawing a smooth oval or a smooth circle with the hips or with the belly button or with the chest. When we rock in this way, when we gently circle in this way, it can be really soothing or settling for the nervous system. You'll notice how it feels for you. You may like it. You may find it doesn't do much. Let's try going the other way. You may find that there's some part of the movement where you want to spend a little more time. It needs a little more exploration. That's great. If you do, enjoy that. Maybe a moment or two in child's pose, or maybe stretching into the side of the hip. And then we'll come back through to stillness and pause for a moment here. Let the head hang, and then see if it feels okay to let the belly drop a little bit here. This isn't always easy, so do with it what you can. Belly drops a little bit, head heavy. And see what's becoming available to notice here. Maybe nothing. Maybe something. We'll continue movement now by stepping right foot forward to the front of the mat. Now, I'm going to put blocks under my hands because it works really well in my body to do that, but you don't need them if you don't need them. If you find that your arms are a little short for what you're trying to do, you can always take both hands to the inside of the leg as well. I like that variation too. And now we're just rocking back and forth here. So knee bends, hips go forward, knee straightens, hips go back. The next time that the knee bends, we'll pause. Bring your right hand to the right thigh, look over the right shoulder, and then sweep your gaze across the horizon over to the left. Let's do that again. We're going to sweep the gaze along the horizon, look over the right shoulder. You can let the hips turn a little bit more. Back to center and look to the left. We've got one more of those. Look over the right shoulder. Look to the left. Both hands back down to the floor or to your blocks. Step your right knee back to the left. Pause for a moment here. Feel your body, feel your breath. And then we'll step left foot forward and rock front and back. So we're not trying to do like super big movements. We're just trying to bring a little bit of movement into the body. When we're under a lot of stress or we're working through a difficult situation, our stress hormones can accumulate in our body. And these make us feel like we've got to do something. It can make us feel really fidgety or tense or anxious. And sometimes we may also feel really tired from that. Like, oh, I don't have a lot of energy to move, but I feel like I have to. So we're just trying to find that sweet spot, just enough movement. Let's pause here as the hip comes forward. Left hand to left knee, look over your left shoulder. And then we'll look to the right. So we're just looking for the sweet spot where we've got enough movement to start to use up some of those stress hormones and start to tell our body things are okay again. But also to make sure that we're not doing it in a way to create more stress. From here, take a look down at the floor and step your right knee forward to meet the left. And then walk the feet a little bit wide. See how it feels to let the body hang here. So I've put kind of a big bend in my knee. I'm letting my torso hang. And then if there's any movement that feels good, you can explore leaning side to side. Or just bending one knee and then another. Again, bringing in that soothing, swaying movement. From here, all the way up to stand. Roll the shoulders up and back and down at the top. And then pause for a moment and feel your body here. So we checked in seated, we checked in on hands and knees, and now we're going to check in one more time in a standing position to see, how does this feel right here? How am I right now? Again, you might just feel the edges of your body, where it meets the floor, where it meets the air. You may be able to notice your breath and see what you're working with there. You might notice, how is the tension in my body? What am I aware of? What do I feel? And now let's start to bring a little bit more movement into the body. So you can make this as big or as little as you like. We're going to start by just shaking out the hands. And as you shake out the hands, it's just like a little twist left and right. Boom, 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 boom. And you can imagine, if you like, that you've got something on your hands and you want to let go of it. And then you might start to add a little bounce on the balls of the feet. So my heels come up a little bit. If that feels okay, maybe the movement in the arms gets a little bigger, so now my elbows and my shoulders are coming along. From the side, it looks like this. You can kind of round the back a little bit. You could shake a little bit to the side with your head, like you're shaking water out of your ear, or the other way. And if it's too much to keep going with the feet, then you just be still with the feet and let the shoulders shake a little bit. And then see if the shake wants to get bigger. Maybe the arms want to go overhead or out to the sides. Maybe you want to shake out the legs a little bit more vigorously. You could also fold forward, round forward, and shake here. Or you could shake up tall and shake your hips and shake your chest and shake your shoulders. And then when you feel ready to start to make the movement a little smaller again, let the movement get a little smaller. And then just pause and see what you notice in your body. Do you feel different? Without noticing, without feeling like you need to change it, see if you can notice your breath. I almost said without noticing your breath, which is not at all what I wanted to say. If you're able to notice your breath, notice your breath. Good. Let's move a little bit more. So to the front of the mat, let's reach the arms overhead, lift up, and we'll bow forward from here. Fingers come to the shins, we lift the chest, and then let's go right foot back to Warrior Two. Now in Warrior Two, we're going to work a little bit more with movement. Arms come together in front. Arms reach away. So a little bit quiet with the movement to start. Arms come together. Arms go apart. Now, if you like, you can play along. If you want to close your eyes, you can close your eyes. And see if you can make your two hands come together perfectly in front of you every time. Trying to match palm to palm. Now, if that feels pretty easy, let's try to match pointer finger to pointer finger. If that's feeling a little more challenging, you can stay with that. Or you could progress, try your pinkies. Maybe the middle finger. Maybe the ring finger. And then right thumb to left pinky. Left pointer finger to right thumb. And then you pick two more fingers to try to bring together. Good. Arms go wide again. Let's straighten the leg, turn the toes in, shake out the hips and the legs a little bit. Walk the feet in and breathe. So these fine motor skills that we're playing with here, proprioception, this can also be helpful to focus our mind in on a task. See what you notice. See how you're feeling. If you hated it, you don't need to do it on the second side, right? So when you're ready, back to the front of the mat. Let's take the arms overhead. We'll bow forward. Fingers to the shins. Left foot back. Warrior Two. Now, in Warrior Two, with the right leg leading, I'm just going to turn around so that I can have my face to you. You can just hold in your warrior two. You could explore different movement in your warrior two. Often we straighten and bend the knee here. Or if you want to continue to play with that little mind bender of touching hands together, maybe trying to touch the backs of the fingers together, a little more tricky perhaps, we don't have as many receptors. Or you could try touching behind your back. So you pick which fingers you want to try to touch together, either behind your back or in front of you with eyes closed. And notice what comes up for you as you do that. We'll do 2 more. And then back into the warrior two with arms wide, straighten your leg. Hands to the hips, walk the feet back in. All right, so we've done some work to try some different things to move through your particular stress response. We've got one more thing to work with here. Come to the front of your mat, reach down, pick up your blocks, or if you've got water bottles, pick those up. If you happen to have a pair of Indian clubs, those are my favorites, you can use those. I'm holding the blocks in each hand like this. I've got a grip around the block. And now from here, I'm just going to start to swing the arms. And as I swing the arms, the little bit of weight from the blocks or from whatever you're holding helps us to start to turn a little bit. So I'm turning, looking over the shoulder in a natural way, just like I would do if there was someone back there that I wanted to see. The hips can turn a little bit too. See how it feels in your body. Just let the arms swing naturally. And if it feels good, you can play with moving the opposite leg at the same time, just as though you were walking. So as the left arm goes forward, the right knee bends. As the right arm goes forward, the left knee bends. I like to alternate between doing these, this little march, maybe the foot even picks up, or the swing with the arms, where I'm allowing myself to look back every time at that back arm. Let's go for another few swings. And then let the movement start to slow down. And I'm going to bend my knees to set those blocks down and come to stand back up. For me, out of everything that we did here today, that is the one that gives me the biggest change in my overall sort of body feeling. Helps me to settle, it helps me to feel as though I've used some energy. I didn't go far, but it feels really good for me. You might have a different experience, so what I want you to do is just notice how each of these things works for you, and then you can decide what you're going to bring more into your own practice. From the front of the mat again, when you're ready, let's take the arms overhead. Now we'll start to change things up a little bit more. Bow forward, coming all the way down. Fingers to the shins, lift the chest, look forward, and then hands come down. Step it back to hands and knees. There's no rush to get there. See if your body's looking for any movement here. Maybe those hip circles, maybe a few rounds of cat and cow. Maybe it feels good now to come into a child's pose or a downward facing dog. When we're really overwhelmed, when we're really in a place of stress, one of the hardest things to do is to come into a sort of static pose like child's pose or down dog. It can feel really uncomfortable, like we're forcing ourselves to do it. But now that we've moved some energy, now that we've gotten a little bit of that work in, you may feel like it feels a little better, or it feels a little easier, or a little more comfortable to explore that. Take another breath or two where you are. I'm just adjusting my microphone. Okay. And then let's come down to a seated position. Take both legs in front of you. And shake out the legs a little bit here. Now we started in a seated position with the hands behind us. So see if you can remember, how did the body feel when you were seated before? Does anything feel a little bit different now? And then we'll keep the right leg straight, bend the left knee, and start to walk yourself forward into Janu Shirshasana, into a stretch for the back of your right leg. Now, as you're settling in here, you may feel like, yeah, I'm ready just to relax here. Or you may find that it feels good to sway side to side here too. So there are always things we can do that will help to support our nervous system, help us to feel a little bit more comfortable. After you've swayed or rocked for a moment or two, maybe you feel ready just to relax into it a little bit more, or maybe that's not something you feel like you're able to do. You can come back up at any time. If it's still feeling like you're not really into it, that's okay. If you are still with me, we'll take one more breath here. And then walk yourself back up, and let's change legs. Left leg forward, right leg bent. You may find that you're not able to go very far forward. That's fine. You can always do this work seated like I am here with the spine lifting toward the sky, or even leaning against a wall. You can even do this with your leg up a wall. If it is available to you to come a little further forward, you can play with that, swaying side to side. Or maybe now it's time for you just to walk in and hold and breathe. Scan through your body, see what you notice. See if anything feels like it may be shifting or changing for you here. And we'll come back up to the top of the position. Both legs in front. Move them around a little bit if you like. And then let's cross the right shin in front of the left. Or if that's not available to you, take one leg wide and have the other leg bent. If this feels okay and you want more sensation, you might stack your knee on top of your ankle, ankle on top of the knee. And then again, we're going to fold forward. Now you may want to just drop right in, or again, maybe that little sway, that little lean, that little rock. You don't need to do what I'm doing. It's normal for our bodies to have differences, right? So your body and my body are going to be doing very different things here. This happens to be a position in which my body is pretty comfortable, but believe me, there are many things that are not. So you don't need to have the hips exactly like I do here. Remember, we have other ways to do this. Back up from here, and we'll just change the legs one more time. Walking forward. Now, at the beginning of the practice, I asked you to notice where there was tension in your body. You might check in again here. If you find that there's still tension, that's so normal and there's nothing wrong with it. All we're trying to do is a little bit of off-gassing. So it's almost like we've got a bottle of soda that's been shaken up. We don't want to just rip the lid off and let everything bubble out. All we've done here today is start to loosen that lid a little bit. Let some of that energy dissipate, and then we see where we are. And this way you can start to make some decisions about, well, first we start to notice how we respond to different stimulus, what our body needs, and then we can make decisions about how we're going to respond to it. Come all the way back up when you're ready. We'll take the legs straight in front of us, and then bring the legs into any comfortable position for you. I'm going to choose Baddha Konasana. This feels okay for me right now. You don't need to do this. You can have the legs in any other position at all. I'm just picking one. Let's play a little bit with the head and the neck. So this is a place where we often carry tension, and I want to encourage you to be really kind as we work through this. So we're not trying to like rip away tension, we're just trying to work with what's here. So start by dropping chin to chest, and then gently lift the gaze towards the sky. I want you to think about this, if you can, as being sort of experimental. How far can I go comfortably? It's not about how far can I go and it feels awful. The next time you look down, we'll come back to center and start to look off to the right and then off to the left. Just scanning across. And if you like, you can bring a little more twist in as you look over the shoulder. See how that feels. So I'm turning with the neck, but I'm also letting the rest of the body help. One more time, each side. And then back to center. A final thing, ear to the shoulder, back to center, ear to shoulder, back to center. Now this is the area, keep going. This is the area where I feel the most tension of all the ones we've worked with so far. So my job is not to fight with it, but simply to work with it. So I'm just kind of walking myself right up to that edge where it feels challenging and coming back to center. And when I treat myself with kindness in this way, I can feel that my body responds. My body starts to feel like, oh, it's okay. We can take care of ourselves. The next time you drop to the side will be the last. We'll come back through to center, and nice and easy, shoulder up, back, and down. Looping the shoulders around. It's okay if they make noise. I don't think the microphone's going to pick up the cracking that's happening here, but there's some noise happening in my body. It's okay if you have that too. Let's go the other way. Good. And then from here, take your time to come to lie down on your back. We're settling into our rest now. So if there's anything you need to do to make yourself feel really good here, maybe something under the knees or something under the head, you can find that for yourself. I also want to encourage you to make sure you have lots of room so that this doesn't feel like an inconvenient thing you have to do, but something that deserves space and time in your life. And then dropping into the position, you might take a moment to walk the shoulders down and away from the ears a little bit. Maybe the head moves side to side here. See what it feels like to let the back of your body drop into the floor. Imagine that the floor rises up to meet it, so that you are held. Without feeling like you have to breathe. See if you can just imagine now that the breath is like wind that comes and goes. And as you breathe in and out lightly through the nose, notice where in your body you can feel the breath. And then see if you can direct the breath low down toward the belly and the sides of the waist and even the lower back. So that as you breathe in, you're expanding belly up, sides of the waist out, and lower back down. As though you had an inner tube around your low waist, and as you breathe in, it's naturally inflating itself. And as you breathe out, everything settles back down. If working in the breath in this way doesn't feel good to you, then just let yourself breathe in whatever way feels best. We're here for just another moment or two. If you have more time today and you'd like to stay a little longer, please feel free. Otherwise, if it's time for you to start to wake up, you can stretch or move or yawn. Whatever way feels good for you. As we make our way back toward a seat, take another moment, if you like, just to see, how are you now? Does anything feel different? If so, what was it that felt most useful or helpful today? Lots of little techniques that we played with that you might be able to incorporate into your daily life. So see what feels like it was helpful for you. And then if you like, we can bring hands to heart, drop the chin toward the chest. Acknowledge your body, your nervous system, all that it's doing to hold you with care and to keep you safe. And the power of these practices. Some of them intuitive, some of them borrowed or handed down, with gratitude for the folks that shared these with us. When you feel ready, eyes can blink open. Time to move on with our day. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope this felt good, and I look forward to being with you again soon. Be well.